Trigger warning: child abandonment, verbal abuse, mentions of abuse and addiction, infidelity. My wife, 26F, and I, 28M, have been together for 10 years, and married for 4 of those. My wife is pregnant with our first child, a boy, and she is due in early July. Now on to the issue that has arisen. My wife wants to name our son after her brother, who passed away a little over a year ago. Her brother, whom we'll call T, was her only sibling, and they were very close growing up, as they were only 2 years apart. However, her brother was not the most pleasant person. He was a substance addict starting from age 14 to 15. He stole from everyone around him, including myself and my wife. He was abusive to all of his partners and his child, and he served several years behind bars. He was also abusive to my wife and her parents. He had a stay-away order from our home because he broke in while we were away and stole our TV, my wife's jewelry box, and one of my GNS. T passed away last year in April from a substance overdose, and it deeply affected my wife. It was her first major loss she has suffered, and she still attends therapy to help cope. When we found out we were having a boy, she immediately wanted the name to be T's name. I heavily disagreed, and I have offered many replacements, other family names like her father or grandfather's, but she will not budge. She wants our son to have the exact same name as her brother, first and middle. She has even gone as far as to say that if we name him something else, she will have it changed, or only call him by T. My final straw was when my wife ordered a blanket with T's name sewn into it for our son. I blew up and told her I was not naming our child after a substance addict who took advantage of everyone around him. My wife blew up at me, she screamed at me to leave, threatened to call the police if I didn't, and called me a piece of crap for talking about her late brother like he was trash. I did leave. I told her I would attempt to speak to her again about this once we had both calmed down, and I apologized for speaking about T in a negative way. I'm getting calls nonstop from her family, calling me names for speaking about T and not wanting to honor him by naming our son after him. My family is on my side, her family is on her side, and my friends are split on the matter. So, am I a massive jerk for not wanting this name for our child? Update 1. Hello, internet humans. Not sure if any of you remember my first post a few months back, but I just logged on and saw I had a few messages, so I figured I would post an update. So, if you recall from my first post, my wife and I were expecting a baby boy in early July, and our conflict was occurring over my wife wanting to name our son after her late brother. We got into a huge fight, some names were called, and threats were made, which led me to this subreddit to ask for advice and opinions from internet strangers. Well, a week after the post, I sat down with my wife, and we had a very long and difficult conversation. She broke down and admitted she was struggling more than she let on with the loss of her brother, and she told me she felt uncomfortable talking to me about it due to my feelings towards him and how he lived his life. I was devastated, to say the least. I have never felt like such a horrible partner. I was selfish, I failed to see him as anything more than his mistakes, and I failed to support my wife through his passing. It was a long talk with lots of tears, and we both agreed to be more open in the future and less judgmental. We started attending therapy together less than 2 weeks after that, and we have been going ever since once a week. It was rough at first, but it has helped tremendously in dealing with the bumps in the road of marriage. As for our son, we came to an agreement on a name after lots of long discussions, a first name we both adored and her brother's middle name, just spelled differently. It was a good compromise for both of us, and it was my son's own name that no one before him had carried. We were both happy. Then, on July 3, 2022, my wife delivered a beautiful, healthy baby girl. To say that we were shocked would be an understatement. My daughter came home the next day, and since then I have still been in awe of how we created something so perfect. We didn't figure out a name until she was a week old, but I'm happy to share that Eleanor Shea is what we came up with. We are still adjusting to life with an infant, but so far it has been nothing short of amazing. Thank you for your past advice, internet friends and strangers. Update 2. Op posting in r/infidelity 1 year after the last update. I'm just here to vent my frustrations and scream into the void about my current situation. I can't talk to anyone in my personal life about this. My wife is cheating on me, she has been for the past 2 months. I just don't understand. I don't even know where to start to begin to understand. We have a beautiful home, stable careers, we're not financially struggling, no substance abuse, and we attend therapy together. Our daughter is healthy, perfect. Our 6-year wedding anniversary is 3 months from tomorrow. We've been together for 11 years. I have spent the last 2 days examining everything about us under a microscope, trying to find when it went wrong. Where did I go wrong? When did she become unhappy? When did this life, our life, become unsatisfactory for her? For her to step outside of our marriage with some random guy she met on Facebook? For her to throw our family away? I just don't understand. I found out on Monday, completely by chance. My daughter's tablet was out of charge, so I grabbed my wife's iPad so she could watch her nighttime videos and go to sleep. My wife isn't home right now, she's on a trip and won't be back for another 4 days. I keep hearing message notifications dinging on her iPad while my daughter has it, so I took it to turn it on silent, only to see a man's name I didn't recognize with a little winky face next to it. I went through everything. They've done it all, met up, spent the night together, went on dates, they even have a romantic cruise planned for next month. The same cruise she told me was a bachelorette trip with one of her friends. All of these outings that I encouraged. She told me they were with friends, and I encouraged her. I was so proud she was getting out there and becoming more social, since she expressed motherhood made her feel like a recluse. And after digging a little deeper, all of these new friends she's been out with don't even exist. All lies. They are characters she's created to continue her relationship with this man. I feel like a complete and total idiot. I never second-guessed a lie she fed me. I gave her my 100% trust. We've been doing couples therapy for a year, we communicate, we go on dates, we give each other gifts, our bedroom life was great. I never, not even for a second, would have suspected this. I don't know how to confront her with this. I don't want this. I don't want to split up our home. But I know that this isn't something therapy can fix. I know myself well enough to know I'll never be able to trust her again. Do I just let go? Let her go be with this man who clearly makes her happier than I can? My entire existence is intertwined with her. How do I even begin to untangle that and separate? I have 4 more days to sit and overthink this. I genuinely don't know what to do. Update 3. I posted here almost a month ago, venting my frustrations about discovering my wife's affair, and I received a magnitude of comments and messages filled with advice and kind words. For that, I thank everyone who took the time to comment or write to me, and I'm sorry for anyone who related to my situation. I'm here with somewhat of an update, but mostly more venting. My life is upside down, and it feels good to get it all out somewhere. After making my post, I took the advice of everyone and gathered up all evidence and contacted lawyers in my area. I found a really great one and went ahead and started on divorce papers before my wife got home. I also got tested for any STIs and told my parents and best friend about the situation. I took my daughter to my parents so I could have the alone time to mentally prepare myself to face my wife with this discovery. I rage cleaned a lot and cried a lot those last 2 days before she got back. I packed some of her stuff, but then unpacked it and cried more. I had planned to lay out all the screenshots along with divorce papers on our dining room table and just sit and wait for her, but I didn't get the chance to do that. She was supposed to get home later in the afternoon on Sunday, but she ended up getting back around 6:30 that morning. She didn't call or text in hopes of surprising me. I was up drinking coffee, and, you guessed it, crying, when she walked into the house. I didn't greet her, I just went and got the folders of evidence and divorce papers and gave them to her. I don't remember anything she said that day, but I just said I knew, I wanted a divorce, and I would keep the house as it was in my name solely. It hurt a lot. I wanted to hug her, but also scream at her. There were lots of tears from her and lots of yelling at me. I didn't say anything. I told her we could discuss it at length with lawyers present once she accepted the situation and calmed down. I think someone called it gray wall in the comments of my last post. Not entirely sure, but I tried my best to do that and not show emotion or argue with her. It was really hard, the hardest thing I hope I'll ever have to do. She betrayed me, but I still felt awful making her cry. She left that day with some clothes and personal belongings and went to her parents' place, and my parents and best friend came to stay with me and my daughter. I had my lawyer arrange a meeting between us to discuss custody, belongings, money, and everything else that following Tuesday. Well, Monday I got a call from my clinic to come in to review results of STI tests, and as it turns out, her parting gift to me is high as foul too. I cannot describe in words how angry, sad, and shattered I am. I'm still accepting it, I don't think I have yet, but I'm working on it. I know it's common, very common, and it's not going to unalive me, but it doesn't make it blow any less. I joined a support group on Facebook, those people are great. Going into Tuesday with that knowledge was awful. I felt so much shame bringing that up in front of not only her but both of our lawyers. I knew if I tried to discuss it with her privately, it wouldn't go well, not with the amount of anger and sadness I had in my system. She never apologized, she was a different person that day. I felt like I was looking into the eyes of a complete stranger, no emotion whatsoever. Divorce-wise, everything is cut and dry. We separated finances, the house is mine, we are just waiting the 90 days for it to finalize. There were no objections on her end but one, she wants to terminate her parental rights over our daughter. She doesn't want her anymore. Our daughter, our baby. I was f***ing blindsided. I'm still blindsided. My daughter is 1, but she loves her mama. Mama was her first word. She's only 1. It's been 3 weeks, and the pain I have felt, the pain for my daughter, for my family, has been indescribable. I don't know who she is anymore. I don't know what changed or when it changed, but it terrifies me. I feel like my entire life was pulled out from under me. I haven't talked to her, per lawyer's advice and my own fear of what I would say. She hasn't seen our daughter, she told me that day she didn't want to. She didn't want any pictures from our home, any memories. Just her clothes and electronics. I don't understand any of it, and I don't think I ever will. We have to go to court for her petition to terminate rights, and I don't want to look at her. I just can't accept this as reality right now, not after everything. I'm trying as hard as I possibly can to keep a positive outlook on everything and be strong for my family and my baby, but this has been so hard. I hope a year from now I can look back and say I survived that, but right now it feels impossible to even see next week. I'm not suicidal, so don't take it as that. I'm just emotionally, mentally, and physically demolished. Absolutely demolished. Update 4. Hi there, to anyone who has messaged me and to all the people who have left loads of comments regarding my past venting on this account, apologies first off. I genuinely kinda forgot I had it. I'm not much of a Reddit guy, but I've been getting into TikTok lately and saw a video about a super depressing Reddit story, which reminded me of my own super depressing Reddit story lol. It's been around 8ish months since I posted here about my upside down situation, and a lot of people messaged me in that time wanting to know how I was and what unfolded. I really appreciate you strangers for all the kind messages. It genuinely means a lot, and I'm sorry I haven't replied or anything. My life has been such a whirlwind these past few months. It's hard to believe that was that long ago. To sum up the sad stuff, first off, my divorce was finalized without any hiccups or holdups. I'm still in the works of trying to sell our old house, but in the meantime, we moved to a new state. My ex is still in the process of petitioning for termination of parental rights. I've only seen her 3 times since moving, and it has been to fly out for court. I was granted temporary full custody in the process, per her request and suggestion, and she was not mandated any visitation and has denied any offer of it. She has not seen my daughter in 7 months, she has requested not to. I don't know what else she's been up to or if she is still with her boyfriend or not. Since the divorce, it has been in the best interest of my mental health to keep the contact as minimal as possible, and she has done the same. I have offered many chances for her to visit with my daughter, whether it be via video call or flying out, and before we moved, I asked weekly, but it was always a no. Her parents still video call with my daughter, and we're hoping they can fly out over the summer and spend some time with her. They've been cut off by my ex as well. I'm not sure what changed, but I can't change it back, and I'm accepting it mostly. I wish her well in all future endeavors. Now for the happy stuff that has happened. Firstly, I am a proud Arizonan now. I never saw myself moving here, but we have loved it so far. My parents packed up and came with us, and I don't think I've ever seen them so happy. My daughter is doing amazing. She will be 2 years old in July, and she is the smartest, funniest toddler I've ever met. She knows her ABCs, can count to 20 without help, loves animals and bugs especially. She thinks farts and a cow mooing are the definition of comedy, and she doesn't know, but she has been my biggest motivator to heal from this whole ordeal and be my best self. Like I genuinely don't know how I helped make such an awesome kid. The more her personality grows, the more in awe I am of just how cool she is. I could talk for days about her, so I'll cap it here before this ends up being a Harry Potter length post lol. As for myself, I'm in therapy and have been throughout these 8 months, and I'm in a much better headspace. I'm working on getting back on top of my health as I did put on about 30 stress pounds. I'll get there eventually, but I'm not sweating it too much. I have not dated or tried to, I don't think I will anytime soon. I've adjusted to being a single parent pretty okay for the most part. I credit that to my family and friends more than anything because they have been a huge support system throughout this. There are still really hard moments that have happened, and I know there are more to come, but I will roll with it just as I have this and hope to come out on top. This is not the end of the world for me even if it feels or felt like it in the moment. The sun will rise tomorrow, birds will chirp, and all will be well. Thanks to my therapist for that, those 2 sentences have helped me immensely. Sorry this ended up being so long, I should really pick up journaling. Maybe a blog or something lol. But thank you again to everyone who took the time to give me advice in the hardest time of my life, and thanks again if you read this. I genuinely appreciate it.